Assalamualaikum. Today our group will be presenting our research proposal, which the topic is adoption of halal logistics among Malaysian halal manufacturer. Introducing my teammate, myself Irfan Shahmi, Nurul Diana, Haziq Alifi, Najwa Nadrah and Fatin Fatihah. This is the content for the presentation, which included by 4 chapters, which is introduction, literature review, research methodology, and also conclusion. Now, we are going to look at chapter 1, which is introduction. For the research background, logistics is a very big sector in industry, especially nowadays, because of the service and operation that have been handled in this industry and becoming one of the most important industry in this world, especially for the supply chain. The amount of workforce that are needed in the logistic industry may have increased from 2016, which is around 393,000 workers, to 2022, which is around 554,000, and the percentage of the increase is estimately 41%.
Now, we jump to the next part, which is problem statement. Nowadays, many consumers make the halal as priority in their daily life. Halal industry in Malaysia is increasingly improving, especially in logistics and supply chain. So, regarding to the issue by the manufacturer that still does not want to apply halal logistics in the manufacture, there are two main problems of the issue that arise. So, the first point is awareness of Muslim consumer on the halal manufacture in logistic aspect is still at a low level. The reason why manufacturers do not apply the halal logistic is because their product is still purchased by consumer. The consumer does not know about the function and the effect when the halal logistic do not apply. When this issue is not be applied, it will make the manufacturer more comfortable with see the halal logistic as a burden for them. So, everyone must know the effect of this issue will cause trouble for consumers, such as the issue of mixed halal haram product. The next point is the lack of intention among halal manufacturers to adopt halal supply chain service. The manufacturer does not want to apply the halal logistic because there are a lot of things that must have by them. Regarding to it, many halal manufacturers do not want to apply the halal supply chain because in their mind, these things are not important. Also, manufacturers are worried about their business capital and profit will affect them. So, this thing must be prevented, and they must know the main reason for the manufacturer to adopt halal supply chain is to protect the product and maintain the status of the product. We go to the next part, which is research objective and research question. We are provide 3 objective and 3 question to discuss about the adoption of halal logistic among Malaysian halal manufacturer. So there are 3 objectives, which is first, to determine the concept of halal logistic. Second, to analyze the significance of applying halal logistic toward manufacture. And lastly, to investigate the challenges of adoption halal logistic among manufacturer. For the research question, there are 3 questions to answer the issue of this research. First, what is the concept of halal logistic? Second, what is the significance of applying halal logistic toward manufacture? And lastly, what are the challenges of adopting halal logistic among manufacture?
For significance of research, this research is basically to show that the application of halal requirement and guideline in any type of sector and industry is very good and brings so many advantages. But in this research, the only sector that has been discussed is the logistics sector. Meanwhile, for the scope of research, this research is limited to the manufacturer's aspect and perspective because we want to know why some of the manufacturers are not interested in applying halal logistic.
The increase in Muslim population in the world every year increases the demand of the halal market. This includes providing halal logistics services, which assist halal manufacturers in maintaining the purity of their products, regardless of the location. The manufacturer is responsible for the delivery of halal products along the supply chain to the ultimate client.
Halal logistics is a process of managing the procurement, movement, storage and handling of food or non-food ingredient or inventory through a supply chain system that comply with the principle of Sharia law. Halal logistics is part of the supply chain which involve activities such as storage, warehousing, transportation, packaging and retailing. From the scope of this activity, a halal supply chain system is required to ensure that the product produced are guaranteed to be certified and that every requirement outlined in the law is complied with. Halal logistics is a relatively new field in supply chain management, but it has been in high demand. This is because consumers have begun to realize that the importance of this halal product. Logistics plays an important role in preserving the integrity of halal goods at the point of consumption throughout the supply chain. It means that the need of halal logistics in the industry play a critical role in keeping halal status on product from transit and warehousing to ultimate destination. The objective of halal logistics is to extend the halal value from the origin sources to the customer. The lack of halalness in the logistics industry can have a detrimental influence on the item handled, impacting the product halal integrity or quality. Next, we look at the halal logistics in Malaysia. Malaysia has become a halal hub in the development of the world halal industry, and Malaysia has competitive advantage in the field of halal industry. Malaysia is one of the countries with a majority Muslim population that has become the benchmark for halal logistics to grow. Besides, halal certification from Malaysia has also become an international standard that has been recognized worldwide, and it has led to the halal industry in Malaysia, including halal logistics, being trusted and gaining attention in the eyes of the world. In Malaysia, initially, the guidelines on halal logistics were issued by the Department of Standard Malaysia in the complete documentation in MS 1500/2004. In the standard, there are general guidelines on the production, preparation, handling and storage of halal food. As the logistic field is seen to be advancing and developing, the Department of Standard Malaysia has created and issued the latest edition of the documentation specifically on halal logistics, which is MS 2400/2010, Part 1, 2 and 3. It was introduced mainly for the purpose of halal logistics. Among the logistic companies in Malaysia that have already obtained halal certification is MAB Cargo Sdn Bhd, which is Mas Cargo. The company launched its halal logistics service after receiving the MS 2400 halal certification from the Department of Islamic Religious Development Malaysia, JAKIM, on 1 May 2019.
This sector, however, is not immune to a variety of obstacles due to its young age. In the halal logistics sector, costs and expenses are one of the challenges that must be faced by halal industry entrepreneur. This sector costs so much because it involves the entire process and movement of the product from the beginning to the end. According to an article, handling costs are defined as all charges related to the movement of the product from receipt through loading. It also includes expenses for trash disposal, labor, and equipment necessary to run halal items in motion. The next challenge is the sector is facing a crisis of weakness in terms of consumer awareness and knowledge related to the importance of adopting this concept in their halal product chain. Referring to an article, the majority of halal producers are unaware of halal services and do not understand the benefits of implementing them. Even though they are halal manufacturers, the majority of them are not looking for halal transportation or warehousing. Next is the lack of government backing. The government support for this industry is not as strong as it is for other industries. Government assistance is one of the most important factors in a sector's ability to develop. One approach for the government to show its support for the development of this business is through collaboration with stakeholder organizations. The level of collaboration between the Malaysia Islamic Development Department, JAKIM, Halal Development Corporation, HDC and Logistics Service Provider, LSP, is minimal, which may have resulted in other issues such as confusing halal guidelines, ineffective standards, and a lack of demand.
Hello everyone, my name is Nurdiana binti Muhammad Hamidi, and in this slide I will talk about the significance of applying halal logistics. Even though halal logistics is still relatively new in Malaysia, it has strong demands because the community and consumer have recognized the value of these halal products. Fardina stated in their paper that the majority of Malaysian manufacturers, even non-Muslim producers, have emphasized that the product they create must be halal and certified by JAKIM, because they believe Muslim consumers are worried about the halal label while purchasing. If a company target on conceivable demography, it's a chance of achieving the largest profit possible are greatest. So, manufacturers might need to get halal accreditation for their logistic in Malaysia to draw in local. This is since halal business operates following Islamic Sharia law's permissible requirement. Moreover, having a visible halal certificate on the business premises helps reassure customers that a halal business is operating following the required standards, which will subsequently increase the numbers of customers. Next, finding something halal to eat or use in our daily life is a requirement imposed by Allah SWT on every Muslim. It is because eating halal allows Allah SWT to answer our prayers and accept our worship's actions, whereas eating harams prevent Allah SWT from accepting our prayers and worship. According to Kamarul Zaman and Ahmad Tarmizi, in their paper mentioned that there are numerous verses in the Quran and Hadith that urge Muslims to be cautious in determining what is legal and what is not. Indeed, the text of Al-Quran and the Hadith is a very strong argument that Islam is highly worried about halal and haram. It is because halal will offer benefits to human beings, while haram will bring mafsadah to human beings, both in this world and akhirah.
Okay, next slide, we look at the chapter 3 research methodology. In this third chapter, it will tell more about how we did the study, whether it was using qualitative or quantitative method. Whatever method is used, it will definitely not run away from the original purpose of our study and the content to be analyzed, which is related to the topic of halal logistics. Next, we'll look at the research design. This study is designed as a qualitative approach, aiming to understand the adoption of halal logistics among Malaysian halal manufacturers. Qualitative research has its own form of data that is different from quantitative research. The qualitative method used at the study is in the form of document analysis. All data obtained refer to the content of the text and the result of the studies that have been done by other researchers. It is an existing answer and only requires understanding and analyzing the study in our own way.
Next, the data collection. In this research, researchers use published data as primary data collection. Published data on this research will be collected from various publications such as academic articles related to our topic and others. Researcher also refers to the various report, books, journal, proceeding paper and electronic web to meet the objective of this study. This primary data will be gathered and collected from library research including online database.
We go to the research sampling. Sampling means an activity, method or technology to pick the appropriate sample for the determination of parameters or characteristic for the entire population or a representative part of its population. So in this research, the sample that have been used is document analysis. Every data and information that have been extracted is obtained through reading and interpretation from several sources. This process of data collecting is combines element with content analysis and thematic analysis. Content analysis is the process of organizing information into categories that are related with the question of research, while the thematic analysis is a form pattern recognition within data with emerging terms being a category of analysis.
Next is data analysis. This research is designed as an exploratory study of the issues that arise among halal producers where there is a lack of intention in adopting halal supply chain services. In detail, to get the answer behind the issues, we as the researchers will complete the objective and framework of the research question by following the steps as follows. The first one is start the study by gathering as much information as possible from the books, journals, articles, newspaper highlight and others related to the topic of halal logistics among the issues of Malaysian halal producer. To support the research information, the report of JAKEM Halal Development Corporation Trade Description Act 2011, Malaysian Standard MS 2400 2019 will also be referred to. In addition, additional information will be obtained from references to various documents, official website of relevant agencies, Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. The article searches and scientific studies will involve studies from 2010 to 2020 and use keyword related to halal logistics. The literature review sources include SunDirect, EMRA, ResearchGate and others. The second step is by organizing all the information obtained according to our respective categories, we will making a comparison of the information obtained. The third step of the study is that we will analyze the study data by listing all the important information found. And lastly, the fourth step is we will draft the final report of the study with each section highlighting the key finding of the findings.
Now is for the last chapter, which is conclusion. For the conclusion, this research has shown that the adoption of halal logistics by the manufacturer will bring nothing except so many benefits and advantages, not only to the manufacturer but also to all the communities that are involved in the supply chain, including the consumer. Even though applying the halal logistics will bring so many challenges, if they see the result after the challenge which will be good and better, surely they would not mind to face the challenges. The logistics in Malaysia can be developed more if the halal types of logistics is being prioritized, and this is because the halal market industry is keep growing day by day. Manufacturers should be smart and brilliant to grab any chances and opportunities to increase their company's reputation and also to build their brand to be known by everyone.
Okay, that's all from our group. Thank you for listening.